At the castle.
This is KDKA TV Channel 2, Pittsburgh. It is 12 noon.
Asking that all of the
Live from KDKA TV Channel 2, Pittsburgh. This is Eyewitness News, the noon report. Friday, April 16th, 1982. Here now, Bill Burns and Penny Burns. Hello everybody on this Friday, April 16th, 1982 on Bill Burns. And here's what's up on the KDKA TV 2 Eyewitness News on this Friday afternoon. Top story at noontime is in Washington, where Treasury Secretary Donald T. Reagan has pronounced that the national economy dead in the water yesterday, as the government released figures showing industrial production declined for the 7th month in the past state. Reagan was President Reagan's top economic spokesman and had predicted recently in February that the economy would become worn back by late spring, but he said yesterday that recovery now can be expected by summer, and then only if the administration and Congress can manage in the meantime to trim huge projected federal deficits. High interest rates caused at least in part lenders and investors worries about deficits have been brought by this economy right to its knees, Reagan said in an interview on the ABC TV.
Attorney General Holder,
he commented just before the Federal Reserve Board released figures showing output about the nation's factories and mines dropped 0.8% in March. That decline, which had been expected, following a February gain that had been broken a string of 6 straight production decreases. We're in a very straight recession at the point, and the economy is dead in the water. Reagan said it's not going anywhere. It's not going down much. It's not going up any. It's just dead, and something has to be moved to drive it. Private analysts generally agree. One of them, Robert Gu, a vice president with Data Resources Incorporated, said that the March production figures indicate that the economy is still on the way down. Reagan and his economic advisors, included Reagan, have referred to the economy as having hit the trough at the bottom of the recession.
Given what we now know,
at the White House Communications Director David R. Gergen said that Reagan's statement said,
anytime bombs are used,
consistent with what White House has been saying, that the economy is flat. Gergen repeated prior White House statements that the economy is in a trough, but Cole said that it does not hit the trough yet, and it is not likely to turn around in the next month or two. Still, like most economists, say that the scheduled income tax rate cut in July, coupled with the increases in Social Security payments, should stimulate the consumer spending in aid,
we're at the beginning of our investigation,
and thus retail sales and ultimately production.
And determine what happened. But we will find out.
In Bloomington, Indiana, a severely retarded infant died last night as lawyers prepared to ask a United States Supreme Court justice to order the boy kept alive against his parents' wishes. Our ruling body, the Indiana Supreme Court, on Wednesday allowed that the parents whose names were not released to order food withheld from the week-old boy and divided court records only as infant D. Monroe County Deputy Prosecutor Larry Broder said yesterday that he had Indiana University law professor Patti would fly to Washington seeking emergency injunction on the boy's behalf. At that time, he described that the boy's condition as grim. Before that, however, that the child died. Claire Arbogast, a spokesman at Bloomington Hospital, said infant D has expired at 10:03 p.m., making it a legal issue.
Saying when we heard,
a Canadian teacher has on the mentally retarded and the Indian couple had offered to keep the baby. The infant was born April 9th with Down syndrome, which causes mental retardation and physical defects. His parents, after conferring with doctors, decided to withhold fundings and forego an operation to correct it. The former Indian is as follows. Porter, who has been appointed in the infant's legal guardian and had been planned to ask the High Court that the child is provided with wherever it needs to stay alive. Monroe County Prosecutor Barry Burton and
to get to the bottom of what happened,
said that Porter and Bunn had been planned to file a plan in
I've directed my administration to take
pleading about 9 a.m. today with Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens and requests as immediate hearing for and
remember that
Justice State Indiana Court orders. Brown had said earlier that the appeal would argue that the boy has denied his constitutional right due to process. Earlier yesterday, Special Judge John Baker denied a temporary restraining order that would have authorized medical treatment and food for the boy. Bloomington Hospital refused to make the boy's condition public. The parents loved the child, said Andrew Mallock. The parents' lawyer said that the couple wants to be left alone so they can live with the decision. Mallock added it was so caring so much that the child was prompted them to make the decision. The decision was made at Bloomington Hospital. It was made every day.
Investigation.
At other hospitals, it was a courageous decision. Child is a very moment at Bloomington Hospital, starving to death. Porter told Indiana Supreme Court during its emergency hearing at the case Wednesday. The infant has a continually guaranteed right to live. The court 1 year later voted 3-1 to allow the parents' decision to stand. The authors of adoption came from Mike Lemonse, who teaches a printed trade to the retarded in Edmonton, Alberta. And from Shelley and Bobby Wright of Emmonsville. I have a daughter with Down syndrome. They were loving babies. Mrs. Wright said, even if the baby lives only about 6 months of a year, it should be given a chance to live and be loved.
We do not know who did them.
In Chicago, President Reagan outlined to the Catholic educators yesterday the proposal gradually to extend the tuition tax credits up to $500 per child that parents who have bared a double burden of the public and private school costs. The president declared that the proposal started at a maximum of $100 next year and jumping $200 in each of the next 2 years would be hope sustain public schools and strengthen public education. Reagan's plan was shrouded with doubt that based on the constitutional guaranteed separation of church and state, along with congressional concerns over the burgeoning federal deficit would be filling up pledge to the 1980 campaign. In Washington, Senator Republican Harrison P. Schmidt of New Mexico said, "There's one big fly in the ointment. The proposal won't survive a constitutional test. It allows most parents of the child in private, public, primary, and secondary schools to claim a tax credit up to half the tuition cost, but not exceeding $100 per child in 1983, $300 in 1984, and $500 in 1985 and thereafter. Families with incomes up to $50,000 a year would be eligible for the full credit that between $50,000 and $75,000 could get partial benefits. Higher incomes would be not qualified. Expands competition among the students and among schools. The president told 5,000 delegates at the National Catholic Educational Association Convention. Private education is no divisive threat to our system of education. It is an important part of it. He said, adding that the public schools offer quality education of our children and at the heart of our community, but alternatives to public education lend our strength in public education.
It's a hotel. But staff will be there available to give information.
Reagan departed from his text to respond to concerns about his military build-up and cuts in social programs expressed both in private by
in all efforts of
leaders and in public by a handful of demonstrators who will briefly sing a hymn and bore a better rating. Armed race equals fat from the poor.
the president,
As Reagan began his speech,
he called the governor, he called the mayor.
Monsignor John Myers said afterward he gave Reagan a nuclear advice.
Actively involved here in responding.
This remains a very active investigation. Our ongoing investigation in various
County residents
throughout the area goes on. However, there are no
made it through in 1981 in relatively good health. The County Health Department's annual report to be published later this year shows that in its momentous description of the number of reported
the citizens of Massachusetts and the
things of venereal disease.
see the FBI and its JTF partners.
Childhood diseases when occurred in 1980. The report shows a reduction in the number of rate of death from heart disease, cancer, stroke, influenza, suicide, and accidents when compared with the previous year. The only major disease to show the substantial increase in the number of reported cases as
Continue to encourage individuals.
influenza, but the department even found a bright note occurred in that disease, pointed out that there was no cases reported between October and the end of the year. They are perhaps one step removed from qualifying for membership in the Procrastinators Club, and the last thing they need is someone to tell them that they're light years from
The area around the crime.
Mana. But some of them that said like this has happened last night at the intersection of 7th Avenue and Great Street, where the late pairs converged
We will continue to collapse that crime.
with the late pairs during the annual right of the
Circumstances make that available. We want to
century and keep it in the spirit of the season. They agree with each other. It was deadline time for found state and federal tax returns at a Postal Service provided as usual by
Boston and Davis.
Go Vacation Services Station carriers wearing orange vests near the four corners of the information to pick up the returns, while the carriers collected Libertarian Party members distributed adventurous
Trying to encourage people,
prohibitors
go on with their life
ran in and out of traffic with leaflets condemning Texas as legal
when there's
robbery.
possibility of doing that. The Prudential is open today.
A property manager was shot and killed yesterday while sitting with his partner in the 4th floor office of the Medical Arts Building in Oakland. A suspect identified as Tommy Eccles, 58, of 2123 Shady Avenue in Squirrel Hill, was arrested while walking on Forbes Avenue minutes after the shooting. Eccles, a former employee of Reagan, was taken into custody while carrying a high-powered .30 caliber rifle believed to be the murder weapon, particularly hidden in a shopping bag, police said. The victim, Nathaniel Norman Rose, 66 of Ford Avenue, Squirrel Hill, was pronounced dead on scene about 5:30 p.m. One investigator said Rose and Eccles apparently argued over money, and the victim never had a chance to die instantly. Rose's partner, Will Mecklin, who also lives in Squirrel Hill, told police Eccles walked into the office and it's about 5:18 p.m. carrying a rifle and an ordinance, and both of them in one office. The doors of the office, Will Mel and Norman Russell. And Rose, Samuel Elkin real estate manager, was unleashed because their men were in there.
July 10th to the 19th.
President Reagan in a telephone call from Argentine President Leopoldo Caltero tells him that it would be a tragedy that they would be leaving a bitter legacy if war were to break out between Britain and Argentina over the Falkland Islands crisis. Secretary of State Alexander Haig arrives at Buenos Aires to continue the shuttle diplomacy search for a solution. 5 Muslim zealots convicted of assassinating Egyptian President Anwar Sadat are executed at dawn in Cairo. 2 military men died by firing squad and 3 civilians are hanged according to defense attorneys. The state defense pays running about $125 million behind its anticipated tax collection with just 3 months left in the current fiscal year. Budget officials blame the state of the economy for the reversal shortfall.
Get back to the real you. And custom fit filters are now just $299 each. Call 1.
A consultant committee says rebuilding the county jail would cost about $35 million, not including the cost of housing prisoners through reconstruction.
Call them now. Floor cost 70% off.
Nation Act. The committed of ideas is that toward a high-rise hell of justice to include a lock-up and a random criminal justice system on the building site. Chick coin above brings his jam-oriented keyboard artistry and companion to the Silly Theater died at 7:30 concert. His current work, 3 quartets, is dedicated to Duke Ellington and John Coltrane. It is influenced by such widely diverse musicians as Bartek and Beethoven, Miles Davis, Dizzy Gillespie, Herbie Hancock, and that it is among other starting times in the calendar.
As the first explosion went off and people are rushing to help this man. In fact,
10 days later than originally planned, the 1982 Pirate home opener gets underway at 12:35 today in Three Rivers Stadium with the Chicago Cubs visiting the Pirates West. 3-3 after yesterday's 4-3 victory in Montreal will send John Candler against the Cubs' Don Larson.
So I think I'm just going to keep going and get there.
Appointment Virginia and Kennywood celebrating his 85th anniversary.
To somewhere to get some solace. And again, he is
Stop Dodgers as closed by 3-1-88 down open 08.
3 fatalities and more than 140 people who were injured. The youngest victim here, 8
And you know, tonight the Pirates open a home opener at Three Rivers this afternoon as the Buccos take on the Chicago Cubs. John Candler mound for the
his brother
Pittsburgh Pirates ball.
Yet he watched his younger brother here die, his sister and his mom both injured.
Don Walton mound for the Cubs. Should be a good game.
number of the neighbors and
Okay, Bob Cup will have the weather.
you can imagine.
Take away, Bob.
Devastating.
Okay, thank you, Bill and Patty. Right now at Greater Pitt Airport at
There to
noon time on this April the 16th, 1982 on a
family-friendly event.
Friday temperature 75 degrees with a dew point of 48 degrees, humidity 78,
Tragedy happened just today.
now 38%,
2 more fatalities.
barometer pressure 30.06 inches,
We're expecting
that's weight 10 miles per hour and it's out by about 17 and condition mostly cloudy sky.
in terms of their identity, we don't know where they're from.
Okay,
You know, they're adults. And we did get an update also.
around region it's 73 out in Allegheny Airport, 73 in Greensboro, 63 in Johnstown, 58 in Altoona, 62 out in Dubois, 62 in Oil City, 61 in Bradford, 71 in Erie, 65 in Wheeling, 37 in Morgantown, 58 out in Cumberland, 78 out in Akron, Kenton, 70 in Youngstown, and 74 in Cleveland with light rain in the area.
Severely wounded, and our hearts here obviously are going out to those families who are dealing with this right now.
And hats off to all of our medical specialists, and of course we have renowned hospitals here in Greater Boston, but
Satellite photo shows frontal clouds extended from upper Midwest to Texas and thunderstorms stretching along in the Gulf states.
helping victims, even one hospital down on the South Shore, someone who probably just kept going and got in their car and went home and they were, injured and stuff.
Around the region, but today,
We've been giving the briefings.
it'll be showers and thunderstorms from the central and eastern Gulf states stretching out to Alabama, Georgia, and the eastern the state in Kentucky.
Calm,
And northeastern front will be
and we spoke.
drizzly in the Indiana and Ohio and the Great Lakes, into Michigan, and into Illinois and Wisconsin, and stretching in the west into central and eastern Iowa and northeastern Missouri.
Patients, that they were able to treat them in a way that they could get them the maximum treatment and understand and communicate with them.
It is going to be cool in much of the Midwest to the Central Plains states. It'll be warm in the
We're seeing from all across the country, and our sports teams.
Western Rockies and the Western Coast states.
Cleveland for tonight's game, and we understand that there will be, here they are arriving here, and we understand that there will be a moment of silence tonight for the victims of the 117th Boston Marathon.
I believe the shot's going to be coming into Pennsylvania about 2 to 3 o'clock
Middlebrooks had tweeted
in Pittsburgh.
I can't wait to put my jersey on today.
So, our forecast for Pittsburgh vicinity goes like this.
Talking about how tough Boston was and how we will get through this. And they obviously, they're in Cleveland.
Breezy warm day tonight and tomorrow. Chance of thunderstorms by late afternoon with increase in the likelihood tomorrow. High today 75, low tonight 35 degrees.
The president spent some time here in Greater Boston when he
High tomorrow 70 and chance of rain is 40% today and that. Very cool on Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. Highs in the 50s, lows in the 30s each day. So if you go out to the Pirates game, bring some rain gear with you because it's going to rain by about mid-inning, late inning. Sunset Friday about 7 o'clock p.m. sharp. Sunrise tomorrow morning, 5:41 a.m.
Federal buildings will have flags.
The local forecast is moderate in downtown Breckenridge and Avon, good. Liberty Borough, good. North Braddock, moderate. And Oakland, moderate. And Lafayette, good.
come back and
That's coming to KDKA-2 Eyewitness News, the noon report on this April the 16th, 1982 on a Friday. I'm Bill Burns, alongside Patti Burns, and Bob Cummins saying, have a good day. Coming next on Channel 2, be the young wrestler coming in next on Channel 2. Have a good day. Bye-bye, everybody.
Watch how it works.